Okay, good morning.
Good morning.
Excellent trio of performers uh, that will complement this offense. Darnold, Jones, and obviously Jefferson. These guys do a really good job of making this system go. There are explosive plays throughout this offense, and especially from the quarterback position to Mr. Jefferson. They do a really good job of running the football to set up their play action game. So we're going to have to make sure we're on top of our keys, that we find a way to make this offense one dimensional. We cannot afford to let this offense have efficiency with their rushing attack, the setup play action, and to execute in that realm, and then also be in manageable third down situations. Sam Bradford, I've got experience with him going back to his time at the New York Jets when I was in that particular division. You know, big, strong guy, can force and push the football down the field. He has enough uh, movement within the pocket to extend plays if you're not on top of what you need to do from a rush standpoint. Our pass rush needs to be extremely impactful this week, and the guys know that, to make sure that when this quarterback holds the ball, that we're in position to take advantage and get some hits on him. So great challenge, great opportunity for us. We'll be ready to go. I'll take your questions.
Knowing Jalen the way you do, how fired up do you think he is to get back out there after the way the game ended the other day when he stumbled, and to have Justin Jefferson wait before him?
He's the ultimate competitor in pro. And so one of the things that you have to have at the corner position, especially in the secondaries, you have to have a short memory. You have to be able to reset very quickly. And I know that's who he is. And his play and his whole approach really confirms that.
Is there anything that should have been done differently on that play beyond him, not tripping on the last Watson play?
I'm sorry.
Is there anything that should have been done differently on the last Watson play beyond Jalen not tripping?
No, we got to hit the quarterback, and we got to try and find a way to stay up.
You mentioned hitting the quarterback. Do you need more production in the pass rush? And with Montez, I realize that his presence allows other people to do some good things, but are you waiting for that to show up a little bit?
That's a weekly aspiration and goal. Everything that we like to do starts with our four-man rush, first through third down and including 2 minute. And whatever we desire to do in terms of sending an extra player should complement that. But we have to have the production with our four-man rush.
When you look back on last Sunday, Packers only got in 5 third downs the entire game. How do you view that from a defensive coordinator standpoint of that the struggle to even get them in those situations?
We got to make sure that we're not letting them skip third downs. So the negative plays on first and second down, the efficiency on first and second down, those things have to be there, so they're forced to get into and have to engage more third and hopefully 7+ situations.
Is Montez, and I know at this time of year, nobody's 100%, but is he playing through some stuff that's making it challenging for him to be as impactful as both he and you would prefer?
Montez is getting himself ready to compete, and no one at this time of the year feels great, and that's not something. And I don't intend to speak for him, but that's not something that I see him dwelling on or focusing on when I watch him practice. When I watch him engage our entire process to get to Sunday, we've got to go out and find a way to be at our best when our best is required.
That said, why do you think he hasn't been as impactful in getting to the quarterback?
It comes down first of all to the approach. There's a lot of technique. There's some disciplines that are involved in pass rush that we have to strictly adhere to, and even the best case situations. I've seen a lot of production from that group over the course of my career, and sometimes you just need to reset and reestablish what we have to do from a fundamental standpoint, and to put ourselves in position to win one-on-one.
Sam Darnold's actually been a lot better against the blitz than when the defense sort of sits back. I know you guys don't blitz a lot, but how do you take that information and use that in your game?
It's good to know. I don't know that it'll impact our planning, but certainly as soon as you send an extra person, there are some coverage things that are pretty certain that you have to be in from a blitz standpoint. You're going to be in man coverage. You may be in some type of firehole coverage where you're 3 under and 3 deep. And so now that efficiency may be involved with the fact that he can really anticipate the coverage structure and the coverage premise of the defense.
we've seen the rotation between Tyreek and Terrell at corner. Do you see that getting a point where it could be one, like Terrell jumping in as the full-time starter there? How do you feel about kind of the rotation and what you're getting out of that?
Yeah, we'll continue to utilize both players. We feel great about what they can contribute to our defense. You saw Terrell in the Arizona Cardinals game, come within inches of getting a pick. You saw him get a pick last week. And beginning of the season, Tyreek is running down the sideline with the ball in his hand, scoring for us. So we like what both players bring to the table, and we'll continue to utilize both.
Eric, with Jervon Dexter, I know there's more to it than sacks. What have you seen from him over the past 5 or 6 weeks? Well, he hasn't taken the quarterback down in terms of his pressures, and our defenses offensive line is doing something a little differently now that he's kind of established himself.
No, I would say no. We've gotten some pocket collapse contribution from G, but he's better than that. And we saw that in the first 4 or 5 weeks of the season. And G knows that, like I mentioned earlier with Montez, sometimes you just need to reset and reestablish some of those things that will allow you to follow through as a one-on-one rusher and really get the quarterback on the ground. You have a limited amount of time to impact the play as a rusher because offenses are prioritizing getting the ball out of the quarterback's hand. That's the way they protect him. And so we have to be really, really clean, sharp, fast, and direct if we want to have any chance of getting a hit on the quarterback, much less getting him on the ground.
Back to, just to follow up to Chris's question about Terrell Smith and Tyreek Stevenson, what are each of their strengths out there? Just to get an idea of what you're thinking personnel-wise at certain times.
Well, first of all, both of them, you love the size that they both have at the corner position. Tyreek's an explosive tackler, really good at the point of attack. If teams are scheming to force the corner into a position where he's at the point and he has to make tackles, you really like what he can do. And then Terrell, I just love his man coverage ability, and I love his savvy, his understanding of route concepts, being able to feel pattern pressure, and ultimately executing the coverage.
All right, thank you guys.
Thank you.
Got some snow outside. So my 7-year-old will be ecstatic because he's never seen snow. He's a Miami baby, so hopefully when he comes back up, we'll have a chance to expose him to a little bit. But I'll start with this, right? So it's kind of what I told the offense on Monday. There are no attaboys in this game. We played a game to win, and we came up short. But I want to start first by saying how much I appreciate the response from our coaches and our players because last week on Wednesday, really challenged the entire group, all the coaches, including myself, all the players to do more, to give more, to be accountable, to practice harder so we have an opportunity to go play well. And those guys did everything we asked them to do. And so it's obviously frustrating when it comes to, not being able to get the result we wanted. But I'm excited and encouraged to continue to do a really good job trying to lead the group and build upon that. And we have a great challenge this week that I'm excited about. Against a top-tier defense that plays aggressive. So we continue to keep talking about the principles that lead towards us playing well, starting first with how we prepare, the mentality behind it. And, football is a violent game, and it rewards those that play the game violently. So taking it from a preparation standpoint throughout the week to hopefully show them the right way on game day.
Thomas, Caleb said the other day like what felt different with you calling plays, and he said we felt like we were more in control. You've been on the headset now the entire season, but to be in that spot where you're calling plays, like, did you feel that same? And like, what would control look like for you?
Yeah, man, I felt good. I think it all starts with how you prepare. To me, when you get to game day, you either done enough to give yourself a chance to play well or you didn't. So I kind of had good peace of mind just based on what we did throughout the week, the game plan put together. And again, my goal is always to put us in the best spots for our guys to make plays based on tendencies, based on how we set the game up, based on formation, motion variations. So I definitely believe in, marrying the run and the pass, marrying formations and motions. From a defensive standpoint, they're basing a lot of their calls off of obviously your previous tendencies, which I had none before this game here, obviously, but also off of just your alignments, like 2x2, 3x1, formation to the boundary, similar motions. So trying to do a really good job of, put a seater down in the minds of the defenders before the ball snaps to give us an advantage to be able to go play more aggressive. But the sequence was about Obviously, attacking the defense, getting our guys involved early in the game, so we got to spread the wealth around. But obviously, make those guys to defend every blade of grass when it comes to the vertical passing game, to keepers, to screens, to the run game as well, and also ball out plays.
Thomas, what did you like most about the drive at the end of the first half in terms of the operation of that?
Yeah, I thought it was methodical. I thought we took our time. Nobody rushed. Kind of the same thought process the entire game. I think anytime you're able to use up all the clock at the end of the half, not put the defense back on the grass, go into a 2-minute scenario and use the clock the right way. I think it's about, again, like I said before, us always playing urgent, but never panicking, right? Being calm, cool, collected in the moment. And when it was time to deliver, did a really good job on the goal line, on the 1-yard line. Roshan playing behind his pass he's done all year and find a way to not be denied.
Thomas, how do you balance wanting to do what you believe in as a play caller, but also acknowledging that your quarterback's been studying, Shane's playbook since before he was drafted?
Yeah.
And that those two things aren't identical.
Yeah.
What is the give and take between what you think he may be comfortable with versus what you're comfortable with as a play caller?
Yeah, I think it's simple. It doesn't matter what I'm comfortable with. I don't play, right? So I can always adapt and adjust. To me, it's my job as a coordinator to adapt and adjust our players and what those guys do well. So whether it's Caleb, whether it's our line, whether it's our receivers or tight ends or backs, it's our job to design a plan to obviously attack the defense, but also favor what we do well.
What's the most important coaching point in terms of going up against this Minnesota defense that obviously brings a ton of heat? Like, what's the key to dealing with all of that?
I just wish I had one. There's a ton of them. I think regardless of position, down and distance, it's hard to find weaknesses in this defense. They do a really good job. I don't know Brian Flores all that well, but I've met him a couple of times. I think one of the biggest compliments you can get as a coach is your unit takes on your personality. And so they are aggressive, they are attacking, they are opportunistic. And so it's going to be important for us to go into the game, to me, always first and foremost, like play with no fear. Like we're not going to coach scared, they're going to play scared. And so to me, that starts first with preparation because fear and faith only exist in the future. So why fear what hasn't even happened yet? So I think about our guys being able to have confidence in the game plan, to build that based on preparation throughout the week. Then on game, they let it rip, man. Like we don't fear failure or fear mistakes. You learn from those opportunities, and they continue to keep swinging.
Do you feel like
Caleb
there's
said
still
that-
enough time in this season for your unit to take on your personality?
It's a good question. Haven't thought about it. Probably won't think about it. I think just the daily focus of how we prepare is what I think about the most, and how I can do the best I can to put our guys in the best spot. I think the true test of a leader and the goal of a leader is to make people and situations better. That's my focus every day. Right? How can I be at my best and to be accountable so the entire group can be at their best, but also try to find ways to continue to find solutions.
Caleb said you didn't simplify the offense, but how did you want to make sure you clearly communicated on Sunday? First time he's hearing your voice and you guys are making that transition together.
I think it's a work in progress throughout the week. I think just making sure that I'm communicating clear and concise to him, and also asking him for his feedback. Just as far as, do you want some reminders in the headset about this particular play? Do you want a reminder about a motion snap point? That's my job, again, to alleviate stress off of him. I think as you design an offense and call a game, I want to try to find ways to alleviate stress off the two most stressful positions, which is the O-line and the quarterback. So we can do that through the use of shifting motions. We can do it, obviously, through the run game. We can do it through the use of screens, but also how many ways can we design unsackable plays? That's, always the goal. Ball out mentality, let our guys play in space. He can be decisive because decisive is effective.
But with regard to Adam's question, are there wrinkles that you can add incrementally each week that are, what you want to do, each week, or can you only basically run Shane's offense?
Yeah, I definitely understand the question. The wrinkles I want to add is whatever's best for our team. So it's regardless of what I may want to do, because it's not about me. And I think about, again, where we are right now, what our guys have time on task with, and what we continue to kind of put in place as far as what we've done throughout the entire season with being able to kind of marry some stuff up, dress it up differently, give a different presentation to get the stuff we've been doing time on task with.
So do you know things that, like, next year you would do totally differently than what that you can't do now that you want to do in the back of your mind, or the things like that? Is it that much different?
And I wish I had the luxury of thinking about next year. But I definitely understand, what you're asking me. But honestly, I know it sounds like coach speak, but I am where my feet are. And today we have a great opportunity to go have some situational work in third down. Just got done working some 2 minute. And in the off season, what I kind of do my brainstorming, thinking about what I want to do. I think about what I have to do now. That's what the most important thing.
Honest, when it comes to Caleb's vision before the snap and how that may differ to what he sees when he gets the football, how do you prepare him in a short span for what this defense does to confuse you?
Yeah, I mean, they make it tough. I think we use some indicators as far as being able to use some motions that helps undress some stuff, but they still make it difficult. I think understanding where your people are, or understanding, I think, the simplicity of man versus zone or zero, which these guys will present zeros more than anybody, and also show you zero and bail out more than anybody. So I think, again, I know different I talk about any position. Quarterback is totally different in a whole different world, but process well before the snap, ready to react post-snap. So obviously pre-snap reads, post-snap reads are important. And I think, again, you don't never want to handicap a guy when it comes to him hesitating, right? What makes these guys great is they have confidence, they let it rip, it's a natural God-given ability to kind of take over. So it's our job side of the week to do a really good job acquiring their minds, keeping it simplistic, but also adding some wrinkles to make it difficult for the defense so we can go play full speed on Sunday.
Do you anticipate Swift to practice today?
Say it again.
Do you think DeAndre is going to practice today?
I'll leave all questions to injuries up to Flus.
We don't get Flus on Thursdays.
Yeah, So I'm sure you asked him yesterday, So ditto whatever Flus said.
Thomas, I don't know if this is a proper parallel, but when they have a guy like Harrison Smith,
Yeah.
kind of in a way plays that Buda Baker role where you just got to account for somebody in a different way. Like, are there takeaways from playing Arizona 2 weeks ago that you can apply to? I know it's a completely different defense, but a player that they utilize in a similar manner.
I mean, not really to me. I think both of those guys are very savvy players, so that's similar. Both of those guys are kind of masters of disguise, and that's very similar. Obviously, but just different body types, skill sets, and uses within the defense is going to be the biggest factor. But these guys in Minnesota, they have multiple guys who are really good at disguise, line up in different spots, playing different positions. So again, it's about us being on the same page, communicating effectively, and again, playing with no fear. Thank you, guys.
Yeah.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. All right, I have to address y'all like the players if you want to say good afternoon. All right. Obviously, extremely disappointed with the way the game ended. First and foremost, extremely disappointed for our players. But I'm also disappointed for support staff, our entire organization, and for the city of Chicago. As I always tell you all, for any success or any failure of any field goal, it starts with the protection, the operation, and the execution. And when those things are right, you have a successful field goal. When those things are wrong, your field goal isn't what you want it to be. And that starts and ends with me. And that was not the desired result that we wanted on that play. However, I am excited about the look in the guys' eyes and us turning the page and an opportunity to respond versus Minnesota. That's what I'm looking forward to. So with that, we can open up questions.
Richard, with protection on the field goal, what needs to happen to be firmer in that middle A-gap spot where the rush came from?
Yeah, we just gotta get it to our technique more quickly and more violently than our opponent. And that's what needs to happen to firm it up there. And I'm looking forward to our guys responding this week and getting that done.
The Packers indicated that they saw a weakness that they could attack. It was either in the previous in the game or maybe on film against Arizona, I can't remember. But did you see that? And did you know you were vulnerable there as well?
Well, I will tell you this, Mark. On every play and every situation that you look at, every team is vulnerable on something because it's about who has the chalk last. So every team is vulnerable. And anything we see, we always correct it. And just like any other play, on the football field. So we correct everything, and we didn't get the desired result on that play, and that's disappointing. So I'm hurting for our guys, and I'm hurting for our fans, but we're going to turn the page, and we're looking forward to coming out and fighting versus Minnesota. What I told our guys is, in adversity you have, and it strikes in life, you got to get up off the mat. You bleed a little bit, and sometimes you bleed a lot, but you got to get up and fight. And that's the message that I told them, and that's the message that we're going with.
Coach, I know it's not an excuse, but there has been a lot of shuffling along the offensive line in recent weeks. Just in what ways does that kind of stress your unit when you got guys coming in and out with the limited amount of reps you get during practice during the week?
Yeah, I mean, that's a good question, Adam. What I would say is there are always going to be changes. There's always going to be shuffling with a ton of different positions. But my job is to look at what I can do better, and whatever guys that I have is to get them to perform and execute at the highest level. At the highest level, every time. No matter if it's a game-winning kick or if it's a normal kick.
Richard, there's been a lot of talk outside the building about Cairo's trajectory, but his long range has been pretty good this year, and as it was last year. I mean, from what you could tell, was there any issue with? I mean, I know he said right after the game he's got to do better and everything, but I assume you don't have any issue with his kicks on these long range, just based on what he's done this season.
Yeah, I don't have an issue with Cairo. I don't have an issue with our field goal protection team. I feel like the result of that play wasn't our desired result, but I have faith and confidence in our unit, and I'm looking forward to them operating in that situation again when it's presented. We've kicked over 160 kicks here, and our process has been good when it comes to field goal. The result was not what we wanted. It's not what we wanted, and that starts with me, and it ends with me. Just got to do it, nobody else.
What else did you like or not like about the rest of the game, your other phases?
I mean, I like that our kickoff coverage unit, they covered their ass off versus a Pro Bowl player that's been an All-Pro, first-team All-Pro the last 2 years. So that was a very positive point in the game. Punt return, didn't have an opportunity. We only had the one there with DeAndre. It was a bad ball that they hit that rolled, a good bounce for him. Punt, did an excellent job there on the punt pin. Obviously, we got to be smarter on the post snap of that play. But other than that, like the other units, I thought they showed up to play, and I thought they operated at a high level like they do every week. And we got to get up off the mat and we got to go back to work. And again, I've got faith and confidence in our field goal unit, and we have to go back out there because, as I stated before, we've made a lot of kicks here, and we've made multiple game-winning kicks here. And Cairo has been as dependable as the other people that have been on that unit, and we didn't get it done, and that sucks.
Richard, Flute said yesterday that you had turned in the play into the league, looking at long snapper with Scott Daly in particular. He said you're going to hear back yesterday. Have you heard back, and if so, what did you hear?
Yeah, I understand why you're asking the question in regards to the league. That's really not for me to speak to, and quite honestly, it doesn't change the result. The result is to win, and it don't change the result. So what I'm concerned with is what I can do better as a coach, how I can coach the protection better, the operation better, and the execution, because that's what's in my control. So that's what I'm focused on. That's probably a better question for the league.
When it comes to the line of communication for setting up the final kick, can you walk us through just kind of the process that you guys have as coaches of you providing input and being part of the dialogue of where the kick line is, the preferred hash, all the things that go into setting up the final kick?
Yeah, it's something we always talk about. We talk about that all the time, always constant communication of kick lines, monster kick lines, everything. That's always talked about, not only right before the series starts, but that's talked about at the start of the game, that's talked about in the offseason, that's talked about every Wednesday and Thursday when we do 2-minute. Like, that's always talked about. What happened in that situation was a team decision. And we thought in the best interest of the team, and Flus has spoken to that already. And he talked to you guys about the risk there. So the best interest of the team was to kick it. And when they call field goal, it's my job as a coach to get that executed. Period.
Does the hash mark matter in that left, right, with the wind, whatever, what Cairo likes, doesn't like, does that matter in that situation?
Doesn't matter. No, it doesn't matter because when they call field goal, we got to go out there and perform. That's what matters. Going out there and perform, getting the desired result. I can't allow myself to have excuses. I don't deal in that world. This is a results-based business, and you have to deal in result. In fact, correct what happened, move on, use it to your advantage, and then let's go to work. And that's the mind state I'm in. All my energy and my focus is on beating Minnesota. That's what my energy's on and my focus.
Been on the other end of that, you put a hurt on Green Bay and an even bigger moment, and so you know what the other guy is feeling like. I'm curious, how do you handle, you want to be supportive of your guys, but you also have to crack the whip a little bit? I mean, how do you coach that?
Yeah, I coach.
Like that, where you want to be supportive, but also, you know, you have some discipline in that.
Yeah, no, I can appreciate your question, Mark, because I've been on the other side of that multiple times in my career. I've been blessed with a lot of game-winning kicks, and I've had an opportunity to be on the other end of that big time. When you're on this end of it, which hasn't happened to me, quite honestly, but when you're on this end of it, you always correct your players. And what I do is what I do every day. I don't change. I correct the players the same way. I coach them the same way. I provide the same passion, the same energy, the same me every day because players know what's real and what's fake. They're the smartest people in the room. They know because people are always trying to take advantage of them. People are always trying to take what they have. You cannot be fake in front of players. You have to be real. You have to stand in front of them, and you have to lead them like men. And that's what I do every day, and that's what I'm going to continue to do, but do it at a higher level so that we can celebrate. Because it's no feeling like when you kick a game winner and you go in that locker room and you get to hug everybody's neck. That's the best feeling in the world, and that's the moments that I live for and our guys live for.
Richard, we've come to know your energy and your passion for this job. And how difficult this has been emotionally since Sunday, since that last play, and now trying to regroup while also understanding, like you said, this has been a tough few days for you guys.
Yeah, I mean, it's only 24 hours. The toughest part of it is the first 24 hours. 24 hours, and then you have to look the players in the eyes, and you see them, and talk to them, and get them up back off the mat. But after 24 hours, win or lose, no matter what happened in a ball game, this is the NFL. They coming back at you. You better be ready. You only got 24 hours. And that's the mindset we in. So I don't wallow in self-pity, and nor am I allowing my guys to do that. So they got 24 hours. We flip the page. We on to the Vikings.
Going back to the conversation about where Kyra likes to kick from the right hash.
Sure, yeah.
If a kicker prefers to be from the right hash, what are the determining factors from the team to say, no, that's not gonna happen in this instance? Like what leads to that decision when you're, to overrule where a kicker would prefer to be?
Yeah, it's just a team decision. So whenever a decision is made and whenever a field goal is called, then my job is to go out there and execute. That's it. And I have confidence in our field goal team to make it from any distance they call us from. Because we've already talked about the distance before we go out there. All right, thank you.